Alex Lindsay's the head honcho at the Pixel Corps. That's where they do so many interesting things. They teach people how to use 2 and 3D software, how to do podcasts and video, and then help them get work globally, worldwide. There's members all over the country, ages from 8 to 80. It's really kind of a neat group, pixelcorps.com. And this came out of your work in the film industry, right? Doing special effects.
Yeah, so that's where we really started doing all this stuff. And so we're constantly putting together training pieces. This is actually a preview of some training we're doing for DV Garage, but the kind of stuff that we do in the Pixel Corps all the time.
To teach people what's involved in creating a special effects shot.
One of the things that we have to focus on is it's really easy to learn how to use one tool here and one tool there, but one of the things that we spend a lot of time doing in the Pixel Corps is looking at the entire pipeline.
Right.
How do you start with a raw shot and end up with a finished plate?
Are you saying that when you're looking at special effects in a movie, it's never just been one, it's a whole bunch of programs
You're using
together?
a match moving software and compositing software and 3D software, and all of those have to match together. Will it be a different person
on each program, or does it help to know all of them?
Both. So generally you have specialists.
Right.
These are the people who are going to really do
the king of the match move
of whatever that is.
Right.
But then you do a better job when you're a specialist who knows how to do all the other pieces, because you provide what the other people really need, not just what you were told to do.
Right.
You know, and so it helps to do both. When I worked at ILM, we were part of what was called the Rebel Mac unit, which was this. Most of us were very generalists. You know, we were good at one thing, but we really did the whole shot or large chunks of the shot.
Right.
But there's a lot of and I think a lot of companies are moving that way, where they want generalists who also have a strength.
Well, I think as this technology trickles down to personal computers, you're going to see more people using these kinds of techniques in their own work. And so you would have to know the whole thing. You're making your own movie or your own little podcast, and you want to have some special effects, you'd have to do it all.
Well, and the truth of the matter is the software has become totally affordable. I mean, we have members. Our members get access to a lot of the software, and so we have people who are housewives doing high-end, 3D just because it's fun, and that's what's happening is, and also there's going to be a huge business for this as we look at short films and stuff for your iPhone and all these other things. There's this huge industry that's about to explode, which that's what we spend a lot of time preparing our members for.
Right. So we're going to do, let's say we're making a special movie, a really cool movie. We want a special effects shot.
And imagine we'd like to have a woman walking out on a little voyeur or whatever, and she sees this castle scene.
Castle. Oh, it's a fantasy. Oh, I like that. Okay.
So it all starts here on a green screen. So what you're looking at here is we have just our markers. The markers allow us to actually here. Let me show you a close up of the markers.
So this is actually a big set.
Yeah, and here you can see the markers
on the green. You've painted those?
No, actually, we just cut them out of cardboard. So,
that's all right. It works.
Yeah. So these are actually we print. This happens to be the design that a match moving software likes the most because it's got lots of points.
Triangle.
And the green makes it easier for us to key out because we want to get rid of all that later.
Green. Right.
And but the triangle is the shape that the tracker likes to grab onto. Now,
so you put a lot of triangles all over.
And here you can see in the tracking software, we're sitting here with. We're looking for the markers that we can see through the entire shot.
So this is the actor now walking out onto the ledge.
Exactly.
Okay.
And here is a test. Here's a test of the video here. So let me. So here you can see this little video here. Now what we're looking at.
What is that model there?
That's what we call a pose-o-matic. So what we do is we make sure that in the 3D scene we know where she is.
Okay.
So when we're building the 3D.
So she did the walk first, but then you followed her with a model.
So what we've done here is we've tracked the camera. We've reproduced where the camera was. Yeah. So we use these points. If you look at these points, these are the ones we chose to track.
Okay.
So where those triangles are, we grabbed each one of those points and we told the program, follow those points.
Okay.
And figure out where the camera had to be for those points to move that way.
Did you actually move the camera up like that? Or?
Yeah. So the camera itself was on a jib. Okay. So it's spinning up. So then we do the pose-o-matic. We kind of figure that stuff out. Now from there, we start doing what we call rough composites. So we haven't gotten rid of all the stuff,
but not everything.
Not everything. We just kind of hit a basic green screen key, and we started throwing some geometry out there. Okay. So this is all done in Cinema 4D, and we're just kind of throwing some geometry there for us to work.
This whole thing so far has been Cinema 4D.
The first software that we used was RealViz's Match Mover Pro.
RealViz Match Mover Pro, and now
we're in Cinema 4D, and the compositing is being done in Apple's Shake.
Okay. So those are the 3 programs we're going to use.
Yeah. And so here, and Photoshop, which you'll see in a second. So here,
now you got rid of all
did some
those
cleanup,
dots,
but we still have some geometry there now this is just really rough geometry. Now the other thing that we spend a lot of time on is Google
Let's look at some real pictures.
Yeah, let's just. And
what do we want our castle to look like?
We download. They say that the most original thinkers are usually people who are good at hiding their sources. And it's
all creativity.
Everything
comes from something that was before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Even if you're doing something fantasy, it looks like something else, and it always looks more real when you use that reference material.
Of course. Yeah.
So we go through and we look at a lot of it.
The best fantasy is real, but fantastic.
Exactly.
So you go, wow, that's amazing.
Because it creates something that you can put your hands on it.
Right.
Now here's some concept art from our artist who was in Switzerland, Roger Knobs in Switzerland.
Now he's probably using Photoshop.
This is in Photoshop, so he's just kind of painting the stuff up in Photoshop.
So that's a still 2D painting. Now what are we doing?
This is the basic geometry. So Roger threw together these.
You would do that in
this is being done in Cinema 4D.
Cinema 4D.
So but it's not really complex geometry. None of this stuff is really hard to model.
We're still sketching.
Yeah, we're still throwing stuff together. And what we're going to do is we take all of this data and we put it, we render it. We just do a shoot of that rough, this rough model that we saw earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we take this rough area and we just render it out to Photoshop, and then we're just going to paint on it.
So you can actually paint on that background.
Yeah, so we're going to paint it on. We're not going to try to texture every little thing. So here, these are paintings. Literally, I mean, it looks like he's just doing this. That light shard is just for him to think about where the light is. Yeah. These are rough paintings, and
he's a good painter.
Yeah, he's a really good painter. Well, a lot of these are photo manipulation. So you're taking photos.
So he's not painting by hand with one little dot at a time.
No, you go find photos, you take pictures, and you kind of clump them together. Yeah, exactly. You throw all this stuff together. Here's some of the bridge in the background. Here's the texture for the ground. Once again, a photographic texture.
She's not even walking on, she's got to be walking on cobblestones.
And here's that's the top ledge. I mean, every little piece is rendered one piece at a time.
Moss on that.
So here you can see that this is where we started.
There's the walk with the actress.
Here you can see a slightly cleaned up version of what you're looking at here. Here is a much more cleaned up version, but still just raw geometry. Here is just that background painted in there.
Wow, look at that.
Here is this is the entire shot. So this is the whole shot done without her. And then finally,
look how real that looks.
This is her walking.
Unbelievable.
And this is a pretty average shot of how we.
How long do you think? How many man hours would go into
this? This probably represents 2 weeks of work.
And that's just one shot.
Yeah,
a few seconds.
Yeah, 2 weeks of work.
2 hour film
to put that, and that's pretty common.
That's why films. When you see the credits, they go on and on. There's a lot of people working on that.
Yeah, exactly.
How neat. How very cool. Thanks for showing us that.
Pleasure.
And that's part of something that people are learning in the Pixel Core.
We're actually doing a class on this in the fall in the Pixel Core, so we'll be showing people how to actually put this together. So
Pixelcore.com. There's the URL, and what is it? $50 a month, something like that.
That's like $50 a month.
And you get a lot of free software, and you get a lot of training, and you get the chance to work because all of this training is about giving you the skills you need to get work in this business. Exactly. Very cool. Pixelcore.com. Alex Lindsay is the head honcho there, and he joins us regularly, and I'm so glad he does. We'll be back with more in just a little bit, but first.